Hello and good day everyone. I'm Tashita and I will present the system testing results for our proposed system. For the first package, that is call management, these are the following test cases. First test case, we have three scenarios. The first scenario is test normal login with valid credentials. In this scenario, we verified that a registered and active user can log in using valid credentials and is successfully redirected to the system dashboard. Second, we tested login using different user roles, such as admin and staff, to ensure the system displays the correct role-based interface after authentication. Thirdly, we tested an exception scenario, that is when the system or server is unavailable. In this case, the system correctly displays an appropriate error message instead of allowing access. We also tested for invalid login scenarios. In this test, incorrect credentials were entered and the expected behavior was the system rejects the login attempt and displays an error message. Moving on to the second package, that is document control. In this package, we have two tests. The first one being when a user uploads new document. An authorized user uploads a document with valid credentials and the system successfully saves it with version 1.0 and a pending approval status. For the next scenario, we tested the revised existing document scenario, whereby the user searches for the existing document and uploads the revised version and saves it. The system correctly increments the document version. Moving on to the third package, which is document access. In this package, we have two scenarios. In the first scenario, when a user searches for a document, the system displays only the latest approved version. The second scenario is when there is no approved document. The system displays an appropriate notification message preventing unauthorized or incorrect document usage. And then we have the fourth package, which is audit management. First, we verified that an auditor or quality manager can successfully create and save a new audit plan by entering valid audit details. Second, we tested an audit date conflict scenario. When a conflicting date is entered, the system detects the conflict and displays an error message. That's it for my part.
Okay, so hello, I'm Delphina and I will present the next four test cases. So for test case 005, which is test audit management subsystem find audit, it will contain two scenarios, which is the first one, test for if audit is found, and the second one is test for if no audit is found. So the first one is to test of searching valid audit record. This is to verify that the system displays matching audit records when the user enter valid search criteria. Okay, so the second one is test on searching invalid audit record. So this one is to verify that the system will display a message if no audit records are found. So if the user enter invalid search criteria, the system will display a no audit found message. And then test case 006, which is test audit management subsystem assign findings, will also contain two scenarios, which is the first one, test for successful assignment of finding, and the second one, test for if assignee is missing. So the first one, test for successful assignment of finding, is to verify that a finding can be assigned to a department and notification will be sent. So here, if the finding is successfully assigned, the assignment will be reflected in the system. And then for the second one is test for if assignee is missing. This is to verify the system will prevent or block the assignment of finding if the assignee, which is the department, is missing or not yet assigned. So here, if they want to save the finding and then they don't assign it to a department or the department doesn't exist, the assignment will not be saved. And then test case 007 is to test kappa management subsystem of initiate kappa. This will also contain two scenarios, which is the first one, test for initiating kappa from an existing audit finding, and then second one, test for missing kappa information. So the first one is to test for initiating a kappa from an existing audit finding, which is to verify that the kappa is created successfully from an existing audit finding with a generated kappa ID. So here, when the user select a existing finding to create kappa, they can create it and then they fill the kappa details and the kappa ID will also be generated with the status open. And the second one is test for missing kappa information. This is to verify that system prevents kappa creation if required information is missing. So if the user click create kappa, this is also for existing finding. But if they click create kappa but they leave required kappa fields blank, the kappa is not created. System also display error messages. And then for test case 008 is for testing kappa management subsystem of root cause analysis. This one will contain two scenarios, which is the first one, testing for if the root cause analysis or RCA is completed, and then second one is test if the RCA is not identified. So the first one is to test for completed RCA, which is to verify that RCA details can be entered and saved successfully for a kappa. So here, if a user select a kappa with already identified root problem, they can enter RCA details and then the system can save the RCA. But for the next one is for test for RCA that is not identified. So here is to verify that the system prevents saving RCA if the root cause is not identified. So before doing RCA, the root cause must first be identified. So in this test, the user will select a kappa with unidentified root cause. So if they perform RCA, whether they leave RCA details empty or enter text, the system will still display error message because the root cause is still not identified. So here the submitting for the RCA is blocked and the RCA is not safe. So that is all for my part.
Now I'll be demonstrating the test cases from TC009 to TC012 in the QMS flow system. These test cases cover the kappa implementation and verification process as well as customer complaint logging and investigation. For TC009, we test the implementation of corrective action under an existing kappa. First, the user navigates to the kappa management module and selects a kappa that has an approved corrective action plan. System displays the kappa details including the assigned corrective actions. The user then enters implementation details such as an action completion remarks and uploads supporting evidence. When the user submits the form, the system validates the inputs and saves the implementation details successfully. The expected outcome is that corrective action status is updated, indicating that the action has been implemented. In the second scenario, it's the same steps, but some input are missing. Some input missing, so corrective action will not be safe. For TC010, we verify whether the implemented corrective action is effective. Quality manager navigates to the kappa record and opens the effectiveness verification section. Here, the evaluation remarks and the verification date are entered. The verification action is effective, the system updates the kappa status to effective or closed. If the action is ineffective, the system allows the kappa to be reopened for further action. This ensures that kappa closure only happens when improvements are verified and sustained. Now let's proceed to TC010, which focuses on, and then this one is to test missing data. The steps are same and the version will not be safe. Now let's proceed to TC010, which focuses on logging a customer complaint. Customer navigates to the complaint log module and selects the option to log a new complaint. The complaint form is displayed where the user enters details such as reporter's name, the reporter's name, severity, complaint type, date, description, and optional supporting documents. When all required information is provided and submitted, the system validates the inputs, generates a complaint ID, and saves the complaint successfully. Additional scenarios in TC011 also test missing and invalid complaint details, ensuring that the system prevents submission and displays appropriate investigation messages. Now let's proceed to TC012, which covers the investigation of customer complaints. An authorized user selects an existing complaint from the complaint log and navigates to the investigation section. The investigator records findings and identifies potential causes. After submitting the investigation details, the system saves the information and updates the complaint status accordingly. This ensures that all customer complaints are properly investigated and documented before further action such as linking to kappa. As for handling missing investigation details and for invalid complaint info, the steps are the same except that the error message will be displayed and the details will not be the complaint will not be saved. That's all.
Thank you again. And my part is test 0013 test link complaint to CAPA. The first user story this function supports quality management by ensuring that investigate complaints are systematically tracked through corrective actions. Two main scenarios were tested: making a component to an existing CAPA and creating a new CAPA when no existing record is available. The results confirm that the system correctly maintains the component CAPA relationship and handles exposure case probability. And next is test 014, maintain training matrix. This feature ensures that employee training and competency records are properly maintained. The test case validates that training information can be updated successfully and that the system responds correctly when an employee record cannot be found. This ensures the accuracy of training data. And next is TC015. TC014 is over. Next is TC015 test assign and record training. The test case over successful training assessment and system behavior when a training program is unavailable. The results shows that the system reliable records training assessment and supports work focus competency management. And next is text 016. Test 016 manage requirement records. The test case verify that in equipment records can be created or updated and that duplicate environment IDs are event. This ensures data consistency within the system. And next is TC017. Schedule and record calibration. Schedule and record calibration ensures that requirement accuracy and compliance are maintained. The test case covers successful scheduling and recording of calibration results, as well as handling data conflicts. The system tracked calibration, tracking, and status updates. And my part is over.
Okay, so good evening everyone, I'm Vikash. So as for my part, I'll start with TC018, which tests the meeting scheduler. Our main objective here was to verify that top management can successfully book review meetings. Crucially, we also tested for conflict detection. I simulated a scenario where a user tries to book a meeting on a date that is already taken. As expected, the system flagged the conflict and prevented the double booking. Next, I moved to the meeting content with TC019. For TC019, we tested the agenda manager, ensuring that the quality manager can assign specific topics and presenters. For TC20020, we verified the recording of minutes. The system passed all validation checks here, meaning it correctly saves valid meeting notes but successfully blocks the user if they try to save an incomplete form, such as minutes with missing discussion details. Moving on to TC021, we tested tracking review actions. This feature is vital for accountability. We verified that users can update the status of action items, for example, marking a task as completed. We also tested the negative scenario, as if a user tries to create an action item without assigning an owner, the system correctly triggers an error message forcing proper assignment. Finally, I go to the TC022, which covers reports and dashboards. We verified that the system generates accurate performance charts when data is present. We also confirmed that if a user requests a report for a future data range with no data, the system handles it gracefully with a clear no data available notification rather than crashing. That's all from my part. Thank you.
That is all from us. Thank you.